the reason we talk about this so often is because this really is that linchpin that's holding together the current order, because they're not going to let everything collapse until that does, because it's worth them printing the money and just inflating it, blowing the bubbles, just to hold that war going. So as soon as that war stops, because they've lost, because they don't have the bodies to throw in, then I think everything melts down. And I could go through events and how I've reacted and navigated those events, but also personally, I think I've gone through a transformation of intellectual maturity, of resilience, and of constructive philosophical building amid all the adversity. I think that's one of the most important things, is that this inner sovereignty, this inner willpower and mastery is the real superpower that certainly I hope that I've focused on considerably this past year, and that's going to be my focus for the next year.
It's just lies, more lies, more lies, more bullshit, continuation of the QE to infinity and beyond, all that good stuff. Basically, if we refer, they're using bubble tech terms and technology and lexicon that we saw in the 08 CDO crisis, like too big to fail, and now they're referring to AI as too big to fail. And they're saying they need to invest more because even Trump has come out and said, in the administration and America has said, we need to fund it and we need to get ahead of the curve before China beats us to it, right?
Like the fundamentals are just, this is the failure of fiat and of fiat proliferation, which means that hard assets, especially gold, silver, Bitcoin, historically, have been very good investments over this time period since, say, 2020, or just forever. A late stage debt dump in AI and technology, I think. Like what we're seeing is capital circulating amongst the state, finance, and these tech defense hybrids. The consumption is all debt-based. The innovation is very front-loaded and narrative-heavy. Not much immediate returns. There's kind of a reduced tolerance for failure. But it's important that this is not so organic. It's state-mediated capital recycling into AI and technology under conditions of late-stage debt saturation and military-industrial complex persistence. So, but because it has that security framing, that absolutely overrides market discipline, making them ideal debt absorbers. They are not just too big to fail, they are too strategic to fail. They're too complex to audit meaningfully, and they're too future-oriented to falsify in the present. So if you look at how much is being spent on AI and fueling this bubble, if you then zoom out and say this is actually part of the defense budget or the war budget, you're like, okay, makes sense that the warmongers are spending so much, and they're just they can invent the threat narratives to make it persist. They can invent the procurement. So it's only the form really changes. It's from missiles to networks to data to models.
Now we're actually getting into the nitty gritty. This is the final stages where they start moving gold and start hoarding commodities and resources, which we're starting to see in China and Russia and in the United States, where they're starting to nationalize and strategically control a state surplus of these. And this is generally posturing and getting prepared.
And it's modernity, which is wasting depth for shallow affirmations, eroding instincts, inviting this inevitable breakdown. It's bi-structural design. So this is what we've been talking about. Collapse 2025. It was never a prediction, but an ongoing diagnosis of this civilizational profligacy, a waste of moral, cultural, and instinctive resources.